Episode 4, Landing on the Other Side. Welcome to episode 4, the final episode of our PCS survival series. Not the final episode of spending time with Jodi, but here on Militarily Speaking, I'm Tom McLean with co-host Jodi Vickery and Mel Aguto, a seasoned pro at the PCS moves. We've made it to the other side. The boxes are mostly unpacked. Did you really unpack when you got there? Or did it take a while?
No, I'm way too OCD to not unpack.
I know, that day.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm the same way. So you're at that new duty station, and now what?
Well, that's when the actual real work begins, even though it probably felt like a lot of work leading up to that point. The move was kind of the sprint, and getting all those boxes unpacked and everything in its rightful place and all of that was really a marathon, not a sprint, to be honest.
Yeah, settling in. And again, Jodi, I'm right there with you. Everything has to be done OCD right away. Once you've landed and you're on the ground running, settling in actually takes some time between your soldier navigating their responsibilities and the family figuring out what life looks like at this next chapter and the new duty station, the new city. There's just a lot happening at one time. And being intentional about this phase is so important, preparing for it. And doing that makes all the difference in truly landing well for your next adventure. And so you can truly enjoy it.
Well, she says landing well. So let's talk about landing well, shall we, Mel?
Sure.
Segment 1 is what service members should prioritize in the first 30 to 60 days. So you both are detail-oriented. And Mel, you probably got that being a military spouse, but also being a mortgage loan officer with attention to details and meeting deadlines and closing dates and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And you're chief digital officer, Jodi. So
and we have yet to decide what that means. So
tune in next episode when we have another guest that might know what she does.
Where we say, what does Jodi do all day?
So Mel, from a professional standpoint, what should a service member be doing in those first few weeks at a new duty station, that first 30 to 60 days?
Well, I'll give it to you from my spousal perspective, Tom. So from a spousal perspective, in the mindset, I think we look at it that we're in it together. You know, you've learned how important it is to approach a PCS as truly a partnership, which we've talked about in the other episodes. And when we take time as a family to get organized, especially around finances on the home front, it truly gives our soldier the space to focus on their new responsibilities at the duty station, step into their new position, whatever that might be, and truly feel grounded and supported. And then hopefully that process becomes stress-free.
Yeah, and I'd say kind of some of the just administrative things that we want to make sure we take care of, update everything. and everything is a lot of things. Bank records, your SGLI beneficiary designations, your address with DEERS, kids' school enrollment, depending on what time of year you move. I mean, that can be really important, and timeliness is critical. Vehicle registration, if you move to a new state, the list is really pretty long, and it's easy to let it sit because none of it's exceptionally fun to do, but it's all necessary to do.
Mel, from a financial priorities in those first 60 days, where would you lean?
This part I think is really important, as Jodi mentioned too, filing any outstanding entitlement claims immediately, your DLA, your mileage, your PPM paperwork, if applicable. Those deadlines are real. And we talked about a little bit about that before, but then review your LES and your BAH. Make sure, and I see this from a loan officer perspective as well too, make sure that everything is updated to your new duty station, because those things, of course, change based on where you're relocating to. And sometimes BAH really does vary significantly by duty station. Look at your budget with a fresh eyes. You're in a new place, new area, so exciting, but look at your budget truly, because your cost of living has likely changed as a result of all of that as well.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, it's a great time to connect with your bank, especially one that understands military financial life and all the nuances that Mel's talking about. Review your accounts, any loans you have, your savings picture. If I was PCSing today, I'd want to call Mel and have her walk me through that process, have her understand what buying a home at the new duty station looks like, what's your VA loan eligibility, how does that fit into your situation. All of that's worth a conversation, no matter what your final decision is on what you do there. A lot of families don't realize that Army financial literacy around PCS training is something leaders who serve the military community can actively support. you don't have to figure all of that out on your own. There are lots of resources that are ready, willing, and able to help you.
Jodi,
Tom,
speaking of financial literacy,
we were.
These past few years, and I think in 2024, and just recently, I think it was April, May timeframe, we did a financial readiness survey, military financial readiness survey, and we're proud of those surveys at Armed Forces Bank, asking military families about exactly that. So PCS moves in the financial challenges facing them today, what they struggle, where they want help, where they feel like they're succeeding. It's interesting, something that we cover on the podcast as well. So a plug for the podcast. If you haven't subscribed, or really, I'm doing a shameless plug right now.
It is beyond shameless, but I'm very proud of you.
afbank.com, right? You can go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
Yes.
If you haven't subscribed, do it. You've made it to part 4 of this series. Obviously, you enjoy our company. So go subscribe to the show. Keep up to date on all of that and learn about other military resources and nonprofits that are just there to help you, because we do have a lot of hidden gems out there. But afbank.com has all podcasts that have been published since 2022. So segment 2 of the landing on the other side, we go to when a spouse's career gets interrupted, which I'm going to digress, because like unemployment rate for military spouses is still 22 to 27%, which is still way too high. But we at Armed Forces Bank hire a lot of military spouses, so look for an Armed Forces Bank near you if you PCS there too. But talk about something that doesn't get enough attention is the impact of PCS moves on military spouses' career. I imagine this one's personal for both of you. And, you know, whether you're a licensed nurse or if you're a teacher, sometimes going across state lines, it's not easy.
Yeah, no, it can get very personal. I mean, your career is really part of who you are sometimes. And when you are uprooted and you don't really have control over that timing, it really is a challenge. You might be asked to move someplace every 2 or 3 years. Your professional network, like you just said, your licenses, some of that may have administrative updates that need to happen based on being in a different state, being in a different location. You might be concerned about your professional reputation. All of that can feel like it's being rebuilt from scratch every single time.
And the data on this is pretty stark. Military spouse unemployment underemployment rates are significantly higher than civilian rates. And Tom, you just mentioned that as well. And PCS moves are truly the primary driver. As we just said, spouses have to leave their jobs, sometimes careers, because of the move you're starting over, or you have job gaps, and that can compound over time. So trying to navigate that is not always easy being a mil spouse.
Jodi, you typically have answers for everything. Is that correct?
And if I don't, I make them up.
What resources and strategies are actually there that help?
Yeah, I think a few things. I know a lot of military spouses are intentional about their career choice and their career field, so that they can have something that's portable, so their professional licensing can follow them from location to location and make them maybe feel like they're better equipped or well equipped to get placed at a new company sooner. Many states have enacted laws that recognize those out-of-state licenses specifically for military spouses, which is a nice benefit when that's the case, especially in fields like nursing, teaching, cosmetology, real estate. Before you move, just make sure you've done your homework. We've said that throughout all of these episodes. Do your homework and know what the rules are so that you can take advantage of those and set yourself up for success.
And second, too, remote work has genuinely, I think, changed the equation for many mil spouses. So if your career is portable, or you can negotiate remote work, or there's another, office at that next location with your current employer before you move, that's absolutely worth fighting for. Having that conversation with your employer up front as soon as orders come in really can make a difference.
Yeah, I think that is a lot different today in today's world than it had been before. And I know we try to do a good job of that here at Armed Forces Bank. If we have a military spouse whose other half gets sent somewhere on PCS orders, that if we have a location where they're headed and we have an opening, we sure would try to place them. And the remote work that was my situation when we moved. So it really can make a big difference, and it takes some of that stress out of that. But make sure that as soon as you know you're headed somewhere new, that you have that conversation with your employer. That way, if there is a soft place to land with them on the other side, at minimum, you will have left them, given them a lot of notice and heads up. And I can't imagine they wouldn't appreciate that, and at least be a good reference for you in the process. Third
on the list of 3 things.
Third on the list of 3 things, the Spouse Education and Career Opportunities Program, or called SECO, SECO, through Military OneSource, offers free career coaching, educational counseling, and job placement assistance specifically for military spouses. And the My Career Advancement Account Scholarship, or MyCAA, provides funding for education and training in portable career fields, which is great. These are underutilized resources that can change the trajectory of how you land and where you land. So I would encourage you to take a look at those.
So spouses may experience a career gap. And Mel, if there's any advice you want to give for those that have that gap, because when you look at resumes and people move every 2 or 3 years, they may be at one duty station where they just don't work, and then they'll pick it up at the next duty station. Any explanation for those gaps?
I think, Tom, being honest about your situation on your resume and own it as an asset. Military spouses are amazing. They are resilient. They adapt so quickly. They have so much cross-cultural experiences, and the ability to build something from scratch in a new community is not easy. And mil spouses are phenomenal at doing that. So they're real and valuable professional qualities that come along with that. So frame your PCS gaps in terms of what you built during them, not what you lost. And I think that goes such a long way.
That'll bridge it pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I would say connect immediately with the spouse community, at your new installation. Other military spouses who are already there on the ground are often really tapped into local sources of job leads, referrals to employers. Maybe it's someplace they work that has an opening, who value military families, and they have practical advice for navigating that local job market.
I think it all comes back to the shameless plug about Armed Forces Bank too, because we have 85% of the people that work for Armed Forces Bank on the retail side have a military connection, usually spouses, dependents, and some veterans too. So we do whatever we can to help move. We're one of the original members of the Military Spouse Employment Partnership. There's certainly some other hiring groups out there. You think about even on the transition side, what organizations are out there to help military families. So it's just a matter of finding them and getting aligned with the right organization, right company, but also using, to Jodi's point, your resources to make sure you get connections with the military spouses clubs and different organizations on the installation. Segment 3, rebuilding community at a new duty station. This is segment 3 of our landing on the other side, Jodi. Okay, now back to what you were saying about community. I think there's a lot to be said about that, because I think this is the part of PCS life that's difficult to quantify, but something that feels pretty huge. You leave friends, you leave neighbors, you leave your church, your gym, your favorite restaurant. As long as I have like a Texas Roadhouse, a Dunkin' Donuts, right? A good grocery store with fresh fruit.
A Girl Scout cookie connection.
And a movie theater.
Yes. And a concert venue.
And sporting events.
Yeah, so you sound very high maintenance.
I don't need much. But leaving that and going to a separate community, just sort of unwinding and then having to restart the clock and restart the connections. How do families rebuild that?
I would say intentionally and quickly, especially if there are kiddos in the mix. I think that's important for mom and dad, but also definitely for the littles. The worst thing you can do is sit around and wait for them to come find you. I don't think that works very well. You have to go get that community around you. You have to make yourself available, and that requires energy. And honestly, after a move, especially if you moved all the way across the country, I use the phrase socially exhausted sometimes. You might not feel like getting out there and doing that, but it can help, and it can create a network of people around you where you can go and let off a little steam before you get back to the hard work of unpacking boxes and getting settled in. It definitely pays off. Yeah.
Jodi, I agree with you. Trying to find, your new people in the first few weeks are so important, and they might come help you unpack boxes.
Right.
For families that live on base, though, I think that happens naturally based on the communities. And for families off base, maybe it requires a little bit more deliberate effort, like you mentioned. Going out and not waiting for it to happen, being active, showing up at the unit's family readiness group events, things of that nature, joining gym classes, getting the kiddos into activities, or dog walking for those of us that, have 4 kids.
Do you have a dog park at your installations?
We did.
Yeah.
I can't imagine taking my 5 dogs and just cutting them loose.
They wouldn't be allowed. They wouldn't be allowed.
It would
be a lot.
It'd be like a year later before I'd find them all. It would be terrible.
But I think that's how we form connections. So those are just some ideas of getting out there and jumping into it.
And we did talk, even morale, welfare, and recreation inside the gates are good connection places too. But are there any specific resources that help with that community piece, that lost piece that you want to rebuild?
I think so. The installation is going to have a family support center. It's a great place to start. They often have newcomer orientation events designed to connect new arrivals with each other because you're all sort of in the same boat at the same time. Most installations are also going to have spouse clubs, hobby groups, volunteer organizations. Find something that's of interest to you, and you'll probably find a community of people that share that interest.
Absolutely. Great suggestions, Jodi, too. And then the online military spouse community is real and powerful. Groups are organized by the installation, by the branch, by family situations. Lots of different networks out there for everything, and use them before you arrive to start asking those questions in preparation for your new duty station. We see that happen all the time, but it's a great way to do it as well. By the time you get there, you may have already have a handful of people you've connected with, or meet people that you've already been stationed with once before that become your support group.
Good stuff, Mel. And for the service members themselves, they can struggle also with that social and professional adjustment and the dynamic and getting back into feeling like they belong in that community. Is there some advice you might give to that, Jodi Vickery?
Sure, I can try. This would have been my husband's situation, but I'll try to speak on his behalf. I think it's easy to overlook the process that the active duty service member goes through in the move. They, think about anybody that started a new job somewhere. You have to rebuild your professional relationships. You have to establish your credibility at every new assignment. In the civilian sector, you might go years before you change jobs and do that. Imagine having to do that every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And so you also, while they're doing that at work and then they're coming home, and there's all of the personal transition elements that go with the move as well. So I think advice, if I had any for them, would just be to find a mentor in the new command early, be proactive about building peer relationships. Those are things that are going to matter for them, not just for their well-being, but perhaps also for career trajectory over the long haul.
I don't know about you, but you answered these questions so well, don't you?
Tom.
We've had a lot of practice with this. So let's go to the final segment of this landing on the other side.
Yes, let's.
Segment 4, the last one. What experienced military families wish they'd done earlier? So this has all been really great advice so far, thanks to our resident experts. I now want to close the series with what I think is the richest question. What do the most experienced military families, people who have done this as many times as Mel, what do you wish you had known or done earlier in the journey of PCSing?
Okay, Tom, if I'm going to go first, how much time do we have left? I'm just picking one.
So you're finished, Jodi?
Okay.
No. Go ahead, Mel.
Actually, I'm going to say there's so many, because you learn every time you do it, right? But we were always excited for our next duty station because it's in your next adventure. Looking back, I think what I wish we would have done, even though we were super excited about it, is planned each PCS by starting with what we truly wanted from that duty station, the experiences that we hope to have, the memories we wanted to make, and the goals where we wanted to work together. So, creating a shared game plan rather than kind of, okay, here we go again, scrambling for that next PCS move and thinking, when you're getting ready to do another one, oh my, we didn't do this or we didn't do that. And looking back and thinking some of the things that, we should have done this while we were there. We should have seen this place, or we should have done that, something along those natures.
Yeah. And I'd offer up one here that, so when we moved, I was really fortunate based on the companies that I worked for at the time, where I had an ability to stay employed with them at the new location. But what I saw a lot of my friends go through was really, in hindsight, wishing that they had advocated for themselves professionally as soon as they really found out that they had orders. So when it becomes an afterthought, you start to feel like it's secondary, and that makes you feel less than or perhaps not as important. And so you always feel like you're playing catch up in your career with where you think you should be. But I think the ones that position themselves and their career as a priority and tried to get out ahead of that versus a last second thing once they landed at the new location, we're better off and have better outcomes.
And I'll throw another one in there behind you, Jodi, too. With our PCS moves and working full time through the majority of them, I personally wish I had maybe personally paid closer attention to the financial side of the things, which is funny considering what I do for a living. Funny, yes.
Hindsight's everything.
It is, but we kind of divided and conquered our PCS moves, and he did all the financial things of it, and I did the household things of it. So looking back on it, I think doing those things together and more involved probably would have made me understand things a little bit better rather than just relying on my hubby to do it. From a financial perspective, and then truly understanding what's available to you, I think is really important since, finances could be joint from that perspective as well. So jumping straight into it, that's something that we could have done maybe differently.
Yeah. And I think I would encourage folks to lean into finding their people, finding their community faster. When you've got all of this going on, it's really easy to say, I'm just exhausted and I would like to just sit on my couch and stare at the wall and let the kids go to bed early. But it's worth, I think, drumming up the energy and investing the time to go out, meet people. And that way you don't find yourself kind of, thinking longingly about the place you just moved from, missing your old friends. Get out there, put yourself out there. It is, it can be a real stage of grief, and it's valid to miss your old friends and miss your old place. But the faster you dig in and make new friends and get acquainted with the community and those around you, I think the better off you'll be, and faster as well.
What about that first PCS move, especially those that are new to military life? So it might be their first, maybe their second. Of course, trial and error. Learn from your mistakes, learn from it, fix it, move forward. Renee Fairchild. I had to put a plug in for her. Is that okay, Jodi?
I suppose. I have no control over you.
I know. So what's the single most important piece of advice?
Knowing that I think PCS is bigger than the move itself. It is truly a complete life reset, professionally, socially, and financially. Treat it with the preparation that it truly deserves. And don't try to do it alone. Embrace it as part of that next exciting adventure. Enjoy it through all of it, and you just relish in the fact that you're getting to do something new together as a family.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask early, ask often. Everybody that's there has gone through it multiple times probably. That help can come from your command, from your installation support resources, from your bank, from other military families. In my experience, and I'm sure it's the same with Mel, the military community is one of, I think, the most knowledgeable, willing to share, generous communities that you could ever be a part of. And it's ground they've all traveled before, and they're willing to lend a hand.
Well said.
Thanks, Tom.
You know that song, Wrap It Up? I'll take it.
No, I don't know.
Dale, do you know that? Mel?
I don't know what
By the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Wrap It Up, I'll take it.
The Fabulous Thunderbirds?
Are you going to sing it?
No.
I tried, but get it.
Break on through to the other side.
We'll do a series wrap up, and that brings us to the end of our 4-part PCS survival series. Jodi and Mel, thank you very much for both sharing your own experiences and the knowledge that you've gained over the years, for those personal experiences across these episodes. Mel, you are one of the best VA loan experts in the world, and maybe PCSing was a good fit for you because you have to be mobile and you understand the military life and you give great service. So it's been wonderful having you on the podcast. The last podcast was 1986 with you, something like that. Is that right? From the Fabulous Thunderbirds era?
That was before I joined the bank, but thanks, Tom. No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It was an honor to be part of this and fun to share. And I hope, the series and insight makes at least even one military family's PCS a little smoother and funner. So thank you.
And I have enjoyed having Mel here as moral support to combat you, Tom.
Emotional support. She has an emotional dog, too.
Stay, Mel. That's all I'm going to say. Stay. To our listeners, whether you're getting orders tomorrow, whether you got them yesterday, if you're driving across country listening to this to fill the space, or if you just landed somewhere new and you're figuring out how to settle in, we see you. We walked a mile in your shoes or your boots, as it were. It's hard, but just know that you're not doing it alone.
From all of us here at Armed Forces Bank and the Militarily Speaking co-hosts, thank you for listening. We will be back in your feed soon with more resources and conversations. I think there's something coming down in the fall, a different kind of series, specifically for the military community. Until then, thanks for listening and be good.
Copyright Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced herein therein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as IRS.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.